Kaufman, this is Mr. Stickley. He's the chief public defender. I asked him to join us for this. He came on very short notice, which I appreciate. Yes, here's the allegation that she drove here for a probation meeting with her probation officer, Autumn Kiefer. Autumn gave her a preliminary breath test. The result was .087. We also believe she got arrested. I wasn't going to start yet, but I can. And got another arrest in another county that we just learned of for operating while intoxicated. So if you escort him out to the conference room, let him talk for a minute. So go with the public defender. She got it.
Are you on the record?
Yes, I'm on the record. Okay. And we're on the live feed. 241968 was May 26th of 2024. That's the case she's on probation for. 241471 was August 7th. That one was dismissed. She got one case dismissed for a plea in the other case.
Correct. Because she was a possible sobriety court, but she was getting divorced and moved to LaGrange.
Yes.
So she wasn't eligible. She did some inpatient. She got out. She went on probation. She didn't have any aftercare. Took me months to get her into treatment.
All right, well, let's wait till Keith gets back, but
I'm already in charge on this new one. I'm gonna have to have an officer come in and take her to the hospital.
well, it's the same thing they did with
Boundary.
yes. What's the date of her new arrest from LaGrange
It'll
County?
be last Thursday, so the 19th. She has court next Monday, the 30th. Hasn't been entered into their state system yet. I tried to look it up yesterday.
Okay. We had the record just running, but we're back addressing the matter of Tina Kaufman. The file number is 241968. Ms. Kaufman is here with Mr. Stickley, the chief public defender. Autumn Kiefer is here. Mr. Stickley, here's what I understand. The defendant was here today for a probation review with her probation officer, Autumn Kiefer. Autumn smelled alcohol, gave the defendant a breath test, and the result was .087.
Correct, at 9:40 a.m.
And she drove here. So it is a condition of her probation that, I'll just read it the way it's in the order. It's an old order. She was sentenced to 93 days, credit 2, 91 days to serve, and I deferred a few. So she has 88 jail days hanging over her head. It is a condition of her probation that she take a test upon demand of any police or probation officer. Refusing a test, missing a test, or a positive test will cause an immediate one-day jail term and whether potential probation violation consequence. So the defendant got arrested on May 26th, which resulted in this conviction, May 26th of 24. She was in a crash and her blood alcohol was .294. She got arrested again on August 7th for drunk driving and file number 241471 SD. Her blood alcohol at that time was .244. She was on bond on the earlier case when she got arrested on the second case. Prosecutor dismissed the second case. It was a freebie, and she was placed on probation on this case under the theory that she would be a great sobriety court candidate. However, she moved to Indiana, and we were unable to place her in our sobriety court program because she resides in Indiana She was placed on a traditional probation. She got arrested for drunk driving again on June 19th in LaGrange County, Indiana. Has an arraignment in LaGrange County, Indiana on June 30th. So she is a danger to the public. I don't know what her blood alcohol was. She has a terrible alcohol substance abuse disorder, and she continues to drive. And this is dangerous. Plus, she's legally intoxicated right now, so I can't really even do anything. So I'm gonna find a contempt and probation violation. And it's gonna be taken into custody, and we'll address this tomorrow when she's sober. Further. Let's see what time we got tomorrow. Can't really do anything when the person's legally drunk to try to make a record or talk about things. We need to wait till you're sober. About 9 o'clock tomorrow. I'll give you an order. Violation of probation. I don't want to make sure she doesn't get out before tomorrow. I'm gonna order 2 days jail, credit 0. 2 days to serve further hearing 6/25/25 at 9 a.m. Ms. Kaufman, do you have pets?
I do.
What do you have?
I have 2 little Pomeranians.
You might want to find somebody to take care of your animals. All right, you're going to jail. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. when you're not at .08, and we'll talk further about this.
Your Honor, I'm sure there's protocols at the jail, but just to put everybody on alert, I am concerned about the possibility of some withdrawal issues in the next 24 hours. So if that can be noted or something, make sure that we keep an eye out for.
All right, we'll do that. Michelle's in agreement. Also, you're going to be referred for a new criminal investigation for driving to court while intoxicated. You also were a daily marijuana user. I don't know if you got marijuana in your system as well or not. But we can't keep going this way. You're going to kill somebody or yourself or both. So I'll talk with you tomorrow. All right. Thank you, Mr. Stickler.
Sir, PB and contempt?
Yes. All right, that's a very sad situation. That's a circumstance where she probably never gets under the legal limit. All right, Mr. Stickley, we'll take another crack at this tomorrow after arraignments. 9 o'clock ought to be about when we're done with those.
Yeah, I'm actually not here tomorrow, Your Honor, but I'll give Jeanette the heads up.
Well, she should be here for the regular arraignments. We'll just ask her to stick around.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Autumn. Every day has something new.
I'll call
Never know
Range County and
when
see if
it's
they
gonna
can get to her
happen.
house and get those dogs out of there.
I got something to call too.
Oh, I was gonna say, because I asked her if she had anybody, and she's like, no, I don't have anybody, I'm like a neighbor, you live in the mobile home park, no, I have nobody, so I can't leave them there for 24 hours, so,
All right, thank you both.
thank you.
All right, as I said, every day it's something new. But something new is sometimes something old. Seeing it again and again doesn't make it any easier to watch. Good morning, Ms. Kaufman.
Good
This is Judge
morning.
Winston once again. Autumn Kiefer, your probation agent, is here. And Jeanette Jackson is here from the Public Defender's Office. You did provide information to Mr. Stickley about your ex to go take care of your dogs. Absent that, we were gonna call LaGrange County and have them make arrangements to take care of them. So I think your dogs were taken care of by your ex. But to recap, you were here yesterday for a probation review with your probation officer, Autumn Kiefer. You smelled of alcohol. Autumn gave you a preliminary breath test. And the result was 0.087. So you were legally intoxicated, at least too intoxicated to drive a car. And you had actually driven here. Although I don't know anything's going to come of that. So I had you lodged. I can't do anything while you're intoxicated because by operation of law and fact, you're not competent to understand what I'm talking about. So we've had 24 hours. I'm sure the alcohol is processed through your system. Do you feel better now?
Yes. Yes, I do. I think they came back and I blew 3 zeros like maybe an hour or less later.
All right. You have a court hearing in LaGrange on Monday on your new charge. I can do the sentence now because you're 000. I found that you were in violation of your probation. What did you drink before you came?
It was actually the night before.
And what Autumn said is Bacardi?
Yes, sir.
Autumn is going to file a formal probation violation petition, which we'll address at a later time, and we'll get an attorney to help you with this. I want you to be released from jail so you can address your LaGrange County cases. I'm ordering 2 days jail credit 1, leaving 1 day to serve. You'll be released tomorrow very early. Then you can get out, go take care of your dogs, and go to LaGrange County. Your probation is continued.
Your Honor, I did leave a house key there at the court. The only way that my ex-husband would have been able to take care of my dogs is if he picked that up. And I don't know if he knew that was there or not.
I don't know what the conversation was between Mr. Stickley and him. Hopefully that was accomplished. All right, I think it was. He's not here today. We'll see if we can figure out what the deal is. Anyway, you had Mr. Felt as your attorney earlier. When we do file a probation violation petition, we'll give you a date to appear. You'll come in, I'll arraign you on it. I'll appoint a lawyer for you unless you want to retain Mr. Felt, but you may be helping with your Indiana case. But if you remember, I held 88 days over your head. You had 2 very high blood alcohol cases in a very short time with traffic crashes. You didn't go into sobriety court because you moved to Indiana. So we were trying an intensive probation, but you got 88 days of jail hanging over your head. And you should keep that in mind because it's plausible or even likely that that jail is going to be imposed. All right, anyway, no fine and cost, your probation is continued. That means no drugs, no alcohol. Continue with your treatment at the Bowman Center and test as directed. All right, I'll see you. Good luck in Indiana. I don't know if they're gonna put you in jail. When you go to Indiana, make sure you got arrangements for your dogs, because they might lock you up in Elkhart. I don't know. But I think we took care of it. All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith, why don't you come up and have a seat right over here? Good morning, sir.
Morning.
This is file number 24261 ST, People versus Edwin Otto Smith. Mr. Smith was a defendant in a very contentious case. Was convicted of failing to stop at the scene of a personal injury accident. The complainant was very, very angry throughout and very angry at my sentence in this case. In fact, she was so angry, she cursed the court out several times, slammed the door, stomped out. I brought her back in. She did the same thing. I found her in contempt and ordered a jail sentence. She promptly went to Florida, never to return. Mr. Reed was representing her, and we ended up with a fine. As a result of the conviction of this incident that took place in the parking lot at American Axle, you were put on probation, and as a condition of your probation that you not use any alcohol. According to Autumn's information, you tested positive for alcohol on January 25th, February 4th, May 9th, May 12th. We had a previous violation, and you're supposed to be getting counseling, and that's not going too well. So Autumn filed a probation violation petition that alleges that you're failing to abstain from the use of drugs or alcohol, and I'm not sure what your status is with treatment. The matter is set for today. Her recommendation is that I revoke your probation and order a jail sentence. This probation isn't going very well. In light of that, it might be wise if you get an attorney to help you with this. Are you still, it looks like you got a precision wire shirt on. Did you lose your job at American Axle?
Yeah.
All right. Do you wish to plead not guilty to this and have an attorney appointed to represent you?
I don't have any money for an attorney.
Well, we're going to appoint one. It'll be $150, which is negligible. But there's a high likelihood that you're going to go to jail. And so I would rather that you had an attorney.
Sure.
We're going to do a PBT today to see what you got going. Plead not guilty, appoint an attorney, and set a PV hearing. We're not going to be able to get you to stop drinking. There haven't been any allegations that you drove or did any other criminal activity, which is a plus, but alcohol was underlying this. She was very angry. The report wasn't the greatest. There were allegations of alcohol under the surface, which is why I did this. And there is an alcohol issue with a pink elephant in the room. So at this point, there's no reason to keep you on probation. Tell me about your new job at Precision Wire.
It's all right.
When did you start there?
About a month ago,
When did you lose your job at American Axle?
about 6 months ago.
You'd been there for a long time, like 20 years?
No, it's like 2.5 years.
Okay. Are you still at the Lover's Lane address?
Yes, sir.
If I do put you in jail, I'm not gonna make you lose your job. It'll be done on weekends or an arrangement that you won't have to lose your employment. But we're not being very successful on this probation. So I want you to go with Autumn. I want you to do the PBT today. We'll see whether there's anything in your system. And we'll appoint an attorney and set a PV hearing. All right, you're good to go.
My last one yesterday.
All right, Autumn, here's the file. All right, Mr. Smith, I'll see you in a couple of weeks. You're still on probation and all the conditions do still apply.
DRC called this morning. And it usually goes at 9. He had to be here.
That's fine.
If we give you the PBT, we'll call DRC and you're not gonna have to go in there. I'm not worried about other stuff. We'll see. We'll give them a pass.
Thank you, Judge.
All right,
Thank you, Judge.
okay. All right, we're back. We're right on time. We're gonna start a formal hearing. Traffic matter. And, show cause. Oh, boy. The lights are blinking. I hope that.
I saw that.
I mean, the power's gonna go out. I think it's storming, is it? Mr. Jelinek is here by Zoom. Go ahead and have a seat.
Does the court have the minute or the,
Jurat?
yeah, they said that. I was
Yeah, I do.
Because they had asked us if we don't see the one.
Mr. Jelinek, can you hear me?
Yes, Your Honor.
My recollection is this was supposed to be a live hearing rather than Zoom, but you're here, Mr. Kuhlman is here, Ms. Geschwint is here, but I have another matter I have to address. So stay right where you are. I'll put you in the waiting room and I'll bring you in a moment, all right?
Okay.
This may take a few minutes. All right, I'll get through this if I don't sneeze. As I indicated, we got a lot going on this morning, and this is one of the things that is going on. This is file number 251019520I-1. The civil infraction cases have a long case number. I'm not sure why. It's in the matter of Cole Aaron Summey. That's you, sir?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Summey got a ticket on April 27th, Chicago Road in Ottawa for disobeying a traffic signal. The ticket says he went through a solid red light. There was an informal hearing with the magistrate earlier, and the defendant appealed that and asked for a formal hearing. That's in front of the judge. He posted a bond and the matter is set for trial this morning. Mr. Timothy Reed, the Sturgis City Attorney, is present, as well as Officer Dylan Ware of the Sturgis Police Department, who issued the citation. The fine, I believe, was $120. The defendant did post bond in that amount. The plaintiff filed a jurat earlier this week, formally charging this as disobeying a traffic signal. Good morning, Mr. Reed.
Good morning, Your Honor.
What's the people's position here?
I guess if the defendant still wishes for the hearing, we're prepared to move forward with the hearing.
Is that what you wish, Mr. Summy?
I would just, would like to see if there's any options as far as me getting a fine and not having to get the points on my license and stuff like that, because I wasn't expecting for me to be broadly punished for this citation, because if I had not stopped at the red light and I had just gone through it and almost hit somebody, I'm getting the same charge and the same amount of points. And there's no degree to it like speeding or anything like that. So,
Well, the traffic code, the Michigan Motor Vehicle Code, has a schedule of crimes and civil infractions, and there are points assigned to each offense and fines by fee schedule. This is a civil infraction. It's not a crime. You don't get convicted of guilty of a civil infraction. You're found responsible or not responsible. You can't go to jail for a civil infraction. And the burden of proof is lower. In a criminal case, you have to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. In a civil infraction case, you only have to prove guilt beyond a preponderance, which is 51% to 49%. So it's a lower burden of proof. It's not a crime. You can't go to jail. You've already paid the fine. The officer's here on overtime. He came in once before to testify. He's here again. Mr. Reed, any response to that?
I mean, we're here for the hearing of, I mean, the charge is the charge.
Yes, so the city's not willing at this point to alter it. With that in mind, you just want to pay the $120 fine and you wish to have a hearing on this.
if I pay the fine, am I gonna get the points and stuff
Yeah,
like
you're
that?
gonna get 2 points.
Well, then, yes, I'd like to continue this.
All right.
I mean, if people can sit in jail and fight their case and have it get dumbed down, all because that they don't, the courts don't want to go to trial and they'll just give them a better deal. I don't understand how I can't get at least a warning on this, and I'll never do it again. I've definitely have learned my lesson there, but I don't feel like I should get the points if I came all the way up to the stoplight and I stopped.
Well, we haven't gotten to the facts yet. So I don't know, but right now you have 0 points on your driving record. So this isn't gonna cost you your driver's license. You've had some points in the past, but they've all gone away. So you have 0 points. In fact, even with this on there, it shows 0 points. This carries no points.
It carries points. It's just when they appeal, it doesn't
Oh, hold the
abstract.
points. All right. Okay. I thought it carried 2 points.
It does.
All right. So you're not gonna lose your driver's license. You're gonna get 2 points on your driving record. You've already paid the $120 fine. So I'll use your bond to pay your fine. The case will be done. But if you wish to have a hearing, the city's ready to go forward.
Yes, I would like a hearing if the.
All right, well
charges
then
are
let's
gonna
just go
get
through it.
changed.
Okay. My first witness is Cole Summey.
All right, well, let's have Mr. Ware and Mr. Summy both raise their right hand. Mr. Summy, do you swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, in a civil infraction, because it's not a crime, you don't have the right not to testify. So the city is calling you as a witness. So would you come up and have a seat in the witness box? Your name is Cole Aaron Summy.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, very good. Mr. Reed?
Thank you. Does court need the spelling of his name or is it?
No, we got it. Summey.
And Mr. Summey, is it, you were operating a motor vehicle within the city of Sturgis on April 27th, 2025, correct?
Mhm.
Is that a yes or no?
Yes,
And you were on Nottawa Road at or near Chicago, meaning US 12, the main intersection there, Nottawa Road at around 11:35, 11:36 in the morning. Is that correct?
yes.
And at that time, you came to the red light that was facing your direction,
You said 11:30 in the morning?
11:30 at night.
Oh.
Is that
Oh.
correct?
Yes,
And you were traveling southbound on Nottawa, is that correct?
yes,
And you came to the intersection of Chicago and Nottawa Road to a red light, is that correct?
yes.
And you proceeded through that red light before it turned green, is that correct?
Yes, only because I didn't feel any resentment towards the fact that it's 2025. And I wouldn't expect tax dollars to go towards something that could easily tell me that there's no traffic. So I told myself, I made a citizens good to go on that one.
You made citizens good to go that you're going to disregard the red light because you didn't feel there was any
I didn't
risk.
disregard it. I regarded it and then,
Didn't stop for it,
oh, I stopped.
but didn't wait till it turned green.
Correct.
So you understand that the traffic law requires you not to proceed until the light is green?
Yes, but I feel like that would just be going against what I know is right.
No other questions, people rest.
All right, Mr. Summey, is there anything else you'd like to tell me?
I mean, I just hurt my feelings to think that just because the light didn't turn green, I'm getting charged with disobeying the traffic signal. I didn't disobey it, but I didn't wait for it to tell me I'm good to go.
Okay, I'm not aware of a citizens good to go. This is the busiest well, the second busiest intersection in Sturgis.
Every night that I get out of work and I go there, I'm sitting there unnecessarily. But like I said,
Now, they did change the law. You can turn left on a red light, excuse me, right on a red light these days. But you can't just blow through it. I don't make the law, and you've essentially acknowledged that you committed it. There is no citizens good to go. You felt like nobody else was coming and you could just go through it. We
well, I
can
knew
do,
no one else was coming.
all right, well, that ain't what the law says. All right,
Don't you feel like that's a little unconstitutional? It's like something that is just a machine, like clockwork, this thing. And you as a citizen have to sit there. I really doubt our forefathers would be sitting there.
well,
Seriously, no,
maybe
they
so.
probably-
I don't think it's unconstitutional, and I don't think the Constitution envisions a red light. So you wasted my time, caused a bunch of overtime for the Sturgis Police Department, so maybe that's some satisfaction.
I mean, it is a waste of time, really, but how is it on me?
Well, I find that you're responsible for the violation by your own admission. I'll use your $120 bond to pay the fine. 2 points will go on your record that won't cost your license. My suggestion is stop next time or you get another ticket
I
for the
did
same.
stop, Your Honor.
All right, very good. Mr. Summey, you're good to go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. At least he didn't get up and say it didn't happen. He acknowledged that it happened, but he had a different view of the world than the Michigan Motor Vehicle Code. All right, let me call the case. This is file number 241179ON. Constantine Township versus James Edward Jelinek. Attorney Aaron Geschwint is here on behalf of the Geschwint Sieber Law Firm. On behalf of the township, and Douglas Kuhlman, their zoning enforcement officer, is here. This case has long history of violations of the compliance orders. We had heard at our last hearing that it appeared this property was going to be sold, which could solve a lot of our problems. Mr. Howard Bush is an attorney that's been practicing in Constantine for about 60+ years. And he had advised me he was representing the purchaser of this property.
And the name of
Mr.
my purchaser is not being disclosed.
No, we don't need to disclose the purchaser's name, but you're representing that person.
That is correct.
And what's the status of the transfer of the ownership of this property out on Tim Road?
We are ready to close.
Do you have a closing date?
I expect to have it today. I have the closing funds in my trust account, so I mean, it's going to be basically done quickly. It's
Is that
going to
true,
be a
Mr.?
double closing, one with the seller and then another closing with my undisclosed client.
Now, does this consolidate two separate pieces of property into one?
I'm not willing to state that, Your Honor, but
All right.
basically,
All right, it would, all right, Mr. Jelinek, are you in the process of selling this property,
Yes,
but you've not yet received the funds?
no.
the purchaser's funds, as I stated, are in my trust account. He has made a down payment, a deposit.
All right, that would go a long way to alleviating this ongoing problem. However, it does not alleviate your direct contempt violations of my order that you not do a bunch of things that you were doing, including living there back in May. I wanted to complete the sale of this before we proceeded further. Ms. Geschwint, what's your position here?
Thank you, Your Honor. The township's position and my position is, we were still requesting 90 days jail. Further, we are requesting $7,500 costs to come out of the closing of the sale, both for direct contempt violations. It's my understanding that there was an inspection of the property. That inspection did find more people living on the property other than just Mr. Jelinek and his wife. Mr. Jelinek has directly violated this court's order repeatedly over time, which ultimately led to the death of 2 young children some years ago. So that's why we would be requesting the 90 days jail as well as the $7,500 costs.
All right.
If Your Honor, please, regarding closing, I expect we would close for my client either this week or the first part of next week. It'll be within the next several days shortly.
All right. I wanted to complete the sale of this before we proceeded. The township is asking for jail time for this contempt. We haven't actually taken direct testimony. I guess we did the last time Mr. Kuhlman testified as to his investigation. My fear, however, Mr. Jelinek, and I mentioned this last time, is that you may need counsel. You also need to be here. This was on me. I didn't want this by Zoom. If you're going to do 90 days in jail, I'm not going to order it from there. It's not yet to be determined. But one issue is the costs should come out of the sale, and the sale is about to take place.
I would state this, we would be, if you adjourn this matter for a week, we will have it closed in that time period.
All right, but there be proceeds of the sale that the township wishes to attach. All right, let's take a look at the calendar. This is a problematic time of year in that holidays and vacations and judicial conferences. Mr. Jelinek, are you still in the area? Did you move away?
I'm still in the area.
Continued for contempt hearing to August 13th, 2025 at 1:30. You may file a lien on the proceeds of the sale, in the amount of $7,500.
Thank you, Your Honor.
It isn't determining that it's gonna be $7,500, but you may file a lien for up to $7,500 on the proceeds of the sale. This was about as bad as it got, and I was seriously unhappy with the continued violations after the death of those two children. And you know my opinion on all of that. I'm going to appoint an attorney for the defendant because of likelihood of jail. I'll put possibility of jail. So, Mr. Jelinek, you're going to need to come into the courthouse and fill out the paperwork for a court-appointed attorney to represent you in this matter. You can hire an attorney of your own choosing if you wish. You can even represent yourself. But I want to present the ability for you to have counsel. That will be live, not by Zoom. At that time, we will determine how much, if any, fines and costs there will be. The township's gone to considerable expense in this matter. And I'm going to put a hold on $7,500 of the proceeds of this sale. Then we'll decide that and if and what any punishment will be if contempt is found. But they're asking for criminal contempt, and I believe you need an attorney. And hopefully the sale will be completed by that time. And the new owner wants to get all this property cleaned out of there, and that's good. There's also some issues regarding road right-of-ways and that sort of thing. It'd be very good to have this property in the ownership of someone other than these parties. So, Mr. Jelinek, I'm going to appoint an attorney for you, or you could hire an attorney of your own choosing. But our next hearing will be live in person, Wednesday, August 13th at 1:30. And we'll address the matters further. Ms. Geschwint is going to file a lien, Howard, holding
That's
up
fine.
to $500 of the proceeds.
That's fine.
All right, anything else we need to place on the record?
Nothing further at this time. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, we'll deal with this live, face to face, everybody in the same room on August 13th. All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Now, I was concerned about clearing the decks for our next hearing at 1:30, and it appears we've managed to do that. Mr. Jelinek, you're good to go, but you need to come in and fill out the court-appointed paperwork and get notice of who your attorney is.
August 13th, 1:30.
Yes. Thank you, Howard.
Thank you.
And good morning, everybody else.
Do you need the closing agent on this matter?
No, just let me know when it closes.
Okay.
That's what we need here, a white hat buyer to come in and buy this piece of property and solve all these problems.
Good morning, I'm Judge Bob Brendel.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Well, let's just give this a shot and see what happens. All right, calling cause number 8862. This is in the estate of Adela Sparks. And your announcement for the record, Mr. Green.
Petitioner's applicant is present and ready, Your Honor.
Right, and the applicant is Miss Maddox.
Deborah Maddox, yes, Your Honor.
All right, we also have some people in the courtroom that have appeared, and Yvonne Castillo. So let's see if we can get the people in the courtroom to let me know why they're here. All right, there's someone labeled as Yvonne Castillo. Miss Castillo, are you interested in this matter? Call a timeout. I'm going to go to the courtroom and figure out. All right, we are back. I think we got the technology set up where we can hear everyone clearly. So again, I'm going to call cause number 8862. This is regarding the estate of Adela Sparks. Mr. Green, you've already made your announcement of ready on behalf of the applicant, Deborah Maddox. I need to know who else is here that needs to make an announcement for the record. So, sir, the one that's on the screen there in the courtroom, what is your name, sir?
My name is Tommy Sid Sparks Jr.
Are you ready to proceed today?
Yes, sir. I guess I am.
All right. And who else is here has made an appearance on this matter?
My name is William Sparks.
You ready to proceed?
Yes, sir. And we have one more person.
Cynthia
All right.
Sparks.
One more time.
Cynthia Sparks Cross.
All right. Anyone else that needs to make an announcement that they're here on the record?
My granddaughter is here. She's on the will. Annalisa Peña. She's on the will. She's here also.
All right. If she's like, she can come up and she can make an announcement.
Annalisa Marie Peña.
Ready to proceed, Ms. Pena?
Yes.
All right. You may proceed, Mr. Green.
Yes, just swear Ms. Maddox, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Maddox, please raise your hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony that you give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
You may put your hand down. You may proceed, Mr. Green.
Yes, is your name Deborah Maddox?
Yes, sir.
And are you also known as Deborah A. Maddox?
Yes, sir.
And did you file an application to probate a copy of the will of Adela Sparks, aka Adela G. Sparks, in this case?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd ask the court to take judicial notice of the application, a copy of the will, and the proof of death, and other facts which are on file in this case.
At this time, the court is taking judicial notice of the entire court's file. This includes a copy of the will, the proof of death, and other facts, and the application for administration.
And
probate copy of the will and for issuance of letters testamentary.
Thank you, Your Honor. And are you the daughter of Adela Sparks, aka Adela G. Sparks, Deborah?
Yeah. Yes.
And do you reside at 10507 Pemleaf Court, San Antonio, Bexar County, Texas?
Yes.
And did your mother die on January 18th, 2025 in Jourdanton, Atascosa County, Texas?
Yes.
And was she 86 years of age at the time?
Yes.
And was her domicile at the time of death 995 Camelot Lane, San Antonio, Atascosa County, Texas?
Yes.
And at the time of her death, did your mother own property generally known as real estate, cash, personal effects, and household goods with a probable value in excess of $75,000?
Yes.
All right. And did your mother leave a will dated March 14th, 2024?
Yes.
And did she ever revoke that will?
No.
All right. And did your mother reside in Texas when she signed the will?
Yes.
And is that you have a copy of the will in front of you?
Yes, I do.
Okay, look at bottom of page 2.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I don't have it. I gotta grab it.
That's fine.
That will help me. Okay.
Is that your mother's signature that appears on the bottom of page 2?
Oh, yes, sir, it is.
Okay. Now, what happened to the original will, Deborah? Why do we not have the original for the court?
On the date that I was at my mother's house, trying to get her clothes ready for a viewing that I was going to have for her, for a family, I had the will sitting on top of a little table in front of the bed, and my brothers, both Tommy and William, came into the house and shoved me out of the house. And I've got bruises on one of my legs where the police officer he does have a recording of that. And where they shoved me out of the house. And while I was outside, they took the will. I don't know if it was Tommy or William, but one of them took the will, and they started ripping my mother's clothes out of the car because I hadn't decided what I was going to have her dressed in for the viewing. At some point, the police officer let me go in the house, and when I went in there, the will was gone.
So as
And
far
it
as
was
you know,
open faced on top of the little table in front of the bed.
so as far as you know, the original will was in possession of one of your brothers, either Tommy or William, is that correct?
Yes, one of them took it, and I did have it because my mother gave it to me prior, prior to her passing, shortly after she had the will drawn up.
Okay, and does the necessity exist for the administration of your mother's estate?
I don't, yes,
All right, and after the date of the will, did your mother have any children or adopt any children?
no,
And did she bring any children into her home on promise of adoption?
no.
And was she married at the time of her death?
And she was widowed.
Okay. And were Jana Mendez and Barbara G. Moon the subscribing witnesses to the will?
Yes,
And does the will name you to serve as independent executor? To act
yes,
independently without bond or others for other security?
yes, sir. That was her intention.
And are you asking the court to appoint you as independent executor at this time?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Tommy Sparks, it's your opportunity to ask any questions of this witness. It's not your turn to tell your side of the story. It's only your turn to ask questions. Do you have any questions of Miss Maddox?
Well, no, sir. Only question I have for her is why she's lying.
I'm not
And
lying.
why are we here? We don't even know why. If my mom already had the will done, why do we even have to contest it? She just wants, I think only thing she wants to do is just take it out from under us so she can pay for all that she can
Time out.
afford.
Time out, Mr. Sparks. You have an
I'm
opportunity
not
to ask
talking to you,
questions.
I'm talking to my sister.
Sir, you're talking in a courtroom and I'm the judge. When I tell you to stop
Okay.
talking, then you stop talking.
I'm sorry, sir.
Sir, may I respond?
No,
May I
you may
say
not.
something?
No,
Everyone's
Deborah.
going to be
No,
quiet
Deborah.
and everyone's going to listen to me for a moment. Does everyone understand how the courtroom works? That I will say who says what when. Does everybody understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Mr. Tommy Sparks, you have an opportunity right now to ask questions of Miss Maddox. This is not your turn to tell your side of the story. You may only ask her questions. You may ask your next question. You'll have an opportunity later to tell me your side of the story. But right now, only questions. You may proceed.
Why are we even here? Why are we here actually then?
Because we are trying to follow through with mother's estate, with her will. She put me up as executor of the estate, and that's what I'm trying to do. I actually, I'm concerned about you and Willie fighting and hurting each other with all the police reports that I have backing that up. Well, I have a lot of police reports to back that up, and Mr. Green can present them. I have some going back as far as 10 years, even reports from mother that mother has put against you, Willie and James.
Did you get the ones? Can I ask you another question? Can I ask you another question?
One at a time.
All right, Mr. Sparks, you may ask your next question.
Okay, thank you. Do you have the reports where the police said that mom told them that she wanted us to live there? Do you have those reports also?
I just have reports of violence between you and your brothers.
No, that's not what I asked you.
Where mother has
do you have the report from the police where mom told him that she wanted us to live there?
No, I don't have that.
Why not?
No, I don't have that report, but I have
Well,
the
you
report.
need to get it, I think. I'm gonna file for a motion.
All right, Mr. Sparks. Mr. Sparks.
Yes, sir.
If you cannot wait for her to answer the question and you interrupt her, then I'm going to say that you don't get to ask her any more questions. So I've told you the rules. Everyone needs to listen to me. I've told you the rules. You get to ask questions. You don't get to answer your own question. So you ask the question, she gives the answer. Then you get to ask the next question. So you don't get to ask the question and then answer it the way you wanted it to be answered. So you may ask the next question, but you're stuck with whatever.
May I finish my answer?
Everyone, please be quiet. When I'm talking, everyone needs to be quiet. Do not interrupt me. Mr. Sparks, ask your next question. Ms. Maddox, you'll answer the question, and then you'll ask another question, Mr. Sparks, but you do not get to make any commentary on what Ms. Maddox has to say. You may ask the next question.
Well, I just want to know why you want to take our place away from us for living here. That's the only place the mom wanted us to live, and I don't understand why you want to do it. Can you tell me why? We can pay the taxes on it. It doesn't have nothing to do with the case.
So, all the taxes are not paid up on the property. Some of them are paid, but not all of it. And the main reason I'm concerned about is because of the volatile behavior between Tommy, William, and James. I don't want to be associated with them. I am fearful for my life. I'm fearful for them hurting one another. I have numerous reports where my mother has called the police and asked them to leave. She has asked the police to have them leave because of their drinking and activities that are going on. And I'm not going to debate this, but Mr. Green does have reports of all of these that have been asked of Atascosa Sheriff's Office. I have numerous going back 10 years where my mother personally has asked them to leave and current. And I certainly do not want to be associated with that type of lifestyle. I know that there has been cocaine involved. I know that there has been I cannot remember it. It's another one that they smoke in a pipe, but and also marijuana, and of course a lot of drinking. And my old GMC pickup is completely covered to the rim with beer cans, where that's all they do is drink. And my mother didn't want that, and I certainly don't want it. And I would like to go back to the property and live there, but I don't see that happening with them. And my sister Cindy shakes her head no, like she's not aware of what's going on, and she is very aware of everything that has occurred, and so is Annalisa. Annalisa is very aware of the occurrences there because she has lived there with the violence and the volatileness between my brothers and my mother. And I guess that's all I have to say right now.
All right, your next question, Mr. Tommy Sparks.
No, sir, I'm gonna let my brother talk. Is that all right, George?
So you are passing the witness.
Yes, sir.
All right, William Sparks, your opportunity to ask questions of this witness.
Yes, sir. And what relevance does that have to do with anything to do with the will? There's no relevance to what you're saying. You have no proof of what you're saying. So what relevance is that what is to do with the will? So like you're just trying to railroad somebody.
I think if they
You
were
have
to
no
do a
proof of
blood,
nothing.
All right, Mr. Sparks, I'm going to tell you the same thing I told Tommy Sparks. Ask the question, wait for an answer. You don't get to answer your own question. You ask one question, wait for the answer. You may proceed.
What relevance does that have to do with the will? Why are you lying about what you're saying?
well, I'm not lying. I think if they were to do a drug test or a blood test, that they could see that there is likely cocaine in your system, probably Tommy as well, but I know marijuana and absolutely a lot of drinking. But nonetheless, it's the lifestyle that y'all have chosen to have. And again, Cindy is very aware of everything that has gone on our entire life. Cindy, you're a witness. Don't grin and smile because you're very aware of
You're
everything
talking
that
again,
has
you don't
gone
answer
on.
questions.
And mother has
You're supposed to ask
them.
questions, not describe what you want.
Stop.
Making
And
comments
mother,
again.
Stop.
and mother,
Stop. This is not how this is supposed to work. Okay.
You're letting her talk.
Well, that's right, because this is how this works. She's the witness. You ask the questions and she gets to answer them. Unless you have a valid objection, then she answers the question. That's how this works. It's not your turn to tell your side of the story. It's only your turn to ask a question. You ask the question, she gets to answer it. In a moment, you'll have an opportunity to tell your side of the story, but that's not now. Now is only a time for you to ask the question. You may ask your next question.
Why are you trying to do this? What's you benefiting out of it? What's your benefit out of this?
peace of mind.
Don't you live in a nice house?
Asked and answered.
Sustained. So you need to move on to the next question, Mr. Sparks.
Well, I want to do a motion to discovery. On all this.
I didn't hear what you just said.
I like to have a motion of discovery on everything.
Okay, your motion's denied. You may ask your next question.
Why is she lying? Why is my motion denied? I don't feel this is right.
Sir, you don't have a motion on file with the court. We're not set for a motion for a discovery at this time, so it's denied. You can ask your next question.
I want to know why is she trying to do this? Why are you trying to do this? What is your benefit?
Same objection, Your Honor, asked and answered.
Sustained. Mr. Sparks, she's already answered that question. You can ask a new question.
I don't have no question at this moment. Because
All right, do you pass the witness?
No, that's it.
All right, Cynthia Sparks, it's your opportunity right now to ask any questions of this witness. Do you have any questions?
My question is, when soon after my mom passed away, why did she go to my mom's house and leave the house with bags and bags of clothes and different things, her jewelry, everything like that?
That's your question?
Yes, that's one of them.
Okay, no, I didn't take mother's jewelry. I did take just clothes that I thought that she would need, important papers and bills, things of that sort that I would need to try to pay her bills, because she still got money in the bank, or at least had money in the bank, that I don't know what's happened to that money, how the taxes are getting paid, because the only money Tommy has is the SSI and Ruby's SSI. He's not working. And I'm very concerned about what's happening to Ruby's money and what's happened to mother's money and what happened to mother's credit cards, because mother has Tractor Supply and Lowe's and electricity that was being sucked out of mother's checking account even after she passed away. This is what the bank said, that money was still being drafted out of mother's account to pay the electric bill where Tommy and William were living
Is this
there.
part of my question that I asked
Ana
you
Lisa
about the
was not-
clothes?
Ana Liva,
I don't see
yes,
nobody stopping you from saying what you want to say. If I was to be saying that, I know I would be stopped.
because I am.
Okay, I'm going to stop right here.
All of my
No,
concerns.
stop. Okay, Miss Cynthia Sparks.
Yes.
If you believe that the question, that she's non-responsive to the question, it is your duty to make that objection. No one else's duty to stop her from talking. Do you understand that?
Okay, that's good
So
to
if you
know.
have if you have an objection, you make the objection. Otherwise, she'll continue to answer the question.
Okay, because all I asked about all the bags of stuff that she took out of the house, she took bags of clothes. I haven't been to my mom's house since she passed away.
Stop. You're not asking a question. I need for you to please ask a question. It's not your turn to tell your side of the story. It is only your turn to ask questions. You may ask your next question.
Okay. My question is, why are you trying to sell the property for your benefit?
It's not for my benefit. It's for peace of mind. And you know that the brothers are fighting all the time and drinking and doing drugs. You know that, Cindy.
No,
And
I don't know that. They used to do that.
And the main
They used to
reason-
do that, but not now. They don't do it now.
And the main reason that I want to sell the property is because I do not want a connection or an association
Well,
with them.
just
When
stay
the
away from
property
there.
gets sold,
Why
when
don't
the
you
All
walk
right.
away?
Wait, I'm calling another timeout. I'm going to come talk to y'all in the courtroom. Okay, here I come.
I said when the last time she was there. She did the drama. Lying bitch. She railroaded us. She's trying to lying bitch. You know it, you're
Don't say
lying.
nothing. It's gonna mess up. You know she's lying about all the bags and bags of stuff she took.
Okay, there are rules, let me go over here, so that way they can hear me in my court reporter. There are rules in a courtroom. There's only gonna be two people talking, the person asking the question and the witness. And then if an attorney has an objection, they can have an objection, and then I will talk. When you ask a question of this witness, you don't get to answer it. You don't get to make any gestures in the background. So right now, you're gonna sit at this table. You two gentlemen are gonna sit over there. And ma'am, you're gonna sit over there. And when it's your turn, I'll ask you to come back up in front of here. But you understand that you are only allowed to say certain things at certain times. You will have an opportunity to tell your side of the story. It is not your opportunity right now. It is only your opportunity to ask questions, and it's only her opportunity to ask questions. And the only one that's going to answer those questions is the witness. Does everybody understand that? Okay, have a seat.
You're here. Yeah.
All right, thank you for waiting. Ms. Sparks, do you understand the instructions that I've given to you?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, Ms. Sparks, you may ask your next question.
Debbie, why do you want to sell the property when you know that mom wanted to leave it for the boys? Those weren't her those were not her wishes.
Objection, Your Honor. It assumes a fact, not an evidence.
I'll allow it. Please answer the question, Ms. Maddox.
She's gonna have to repeat the question.
Why do you want to sell the property from under the boys and and then take it away from them when mom lived there? Many times she was asked to leave the property by you, by even others, and she said, no, I'm going to stay here till I die because this is where my sons are going to live. I want them to have a place to live because I don't want them to be homeless. And now you want to sell it from under them. They're paying the taxes. They're not owed. They're not behind on the taxes. They owe a balance.
Objection, Your Honor. I'm not hearing a question here. I'm hearing testimony.
Sustained. That
Sir.
means you ask a question, ma'am.
Okay, if the taxes are up to date, they're not, I can't use the word, I don't know what word to say that they're not, there's a balance on the taxes. Why do you want to sell the property when the taxes are, the property is still not going to be taken by the state because taxes are owed?
Your Honor, first of all, I wanted to mention that my brother called me a lion bee when you walked out of the room, and I'll answer the question now. I have concerns that the taxes are not going to get paid because their money goes to beer and drugs. I do have a big concern that they will not pay the taxes. Not just that, they don't get along. Tommy made it very clear that if Willie steps out of line, that all he's got to do is call the police.
I object.
He said that.
Okay, hang on. I've heard an objection. What is your objection, Ms. Sparks?
I object her repeating again about my brothers not getting along. They're getting along fine since my mom passed away.
Okay, now you're testifying. You can just make an objection. You don't get to answer the own question.
So may I finish, sir?
No, ma'am. Your objection is sustained. You may ask your next question, Ms. Sparks.
Okay.
Okay. And I know that she is, Debbie, I know that, why are you taking the property away? You haven't answered that. I know that you're worried about the boys, but if the taxes are up to date, do you have a right to take the property away from them?
I'm not trying to take the property away. I'm trying to sell it so that everybody can benefit from it. And I do not want to be responsible with something financial with them, especially considering their behavior. And Tommy made it very clear to me and to Ron
I object. I don't
that
want to hear
Willie
none of
would
that.
go to jail.
Hang on, I heard Ms. Maddox. When you hear Ms. Sparks object, you need to stop talking. What's your objection, Ms. Sparks?
I didn't hear her.
Again, she's going to drag in my brothers, how they are, them not being able to pay the tax. Judge, the taxes are up to date.
Don't talk to me. Don't talk to
Deborah.
Questions of Ms. Maddox.
If you can call the tax office, and for that way you can see if the taxes are lost.
Ms. Sparks, I need a question from you, please.
Why haven't you called the tax office? Because the
One
taxes
at a
are.
time. Let her finish the question. Stop.
I'm sorry.
Before you wait, Ms. Maddox, before you answer, I need to hear her complete question. So one at a time.
Okay.
Thank you. Why do you want to take the property when the taxes are not overdue? They should be allowed to. Why don't you want them to live there until they cannot pay the property? I don't think it's not up to. Why is it up to you to decide the lifestyle of my brothers? Let them, why don't you let them live their own
Objection, Your
life?
Honor. I'm hearing testimony, not a question.
No, I did ask her, why do you want to?
Ma'am,
okay.
Let me rule on the objection. The objection is sustained. I heard like maybe 10 questions. So narrow it down to like one question, because if she's just said yes, I don't know what she said yes to.
Okay. Why do you want to let dictate my brothers how to live their life?
I don't want to dictate how they live their lives. I just don't want to be a part of it. And as long as I'm tied to the taxes, and their volatile behavior, it can always come down on me financially and legally. Yes, it can. Because
Deborah,
I'm tied to the property. I'm tied to the property. And Tommy
Then it-
made it very clear that Willie will go to jail if he steps out of line. That's what he told me and Ron. And I don't want Willie to go to jail in spite of everything. I love
I
both.
object to what you're saying. Don't drag in the family history because I could do that too, and it's not a good one. I'm sorry, Judge, but she's dragging in family. I object to what she's dragging in.
Next question.
Okay. Again, you haven't answered me why you want to sell the property.
Okay, I've heard that question like 10
Okay.
times. I've heard the answer.
Okay,
We
I'm
need to move on to another question.
Does it matter to you how the family lives their life and if they can't pay the first that question? I'm sorry.
Yes, it does matter to me.
Hold on, the audio's not working. You'll need to re-ask your question, Ms. Sparks, because you cut out.
Why does it matter to you how they live their life?
Ma'am, I've heard that. I've heard that
Okay.
question asked and answered.
I'm trying to word it in a way where
it matters to me.
If they are paying the tax.
Objection asked and answered.
Sustained. Miss Sparks, you'll need to ask a new question.
So if the property is sold the way you want to sell it, how is the money going to be divided exactly?
Ma'am, I'm going to interrupt you there. So this hearing is just for me to determine whether or not we're going to admit this will into probate. In other words, is this the last testament of Miss Sparks? And then I'm going to appoint an executor. Okay. Then after that, it's up to the executor to then look at the will and make sure that the executor distributes everything as the will sets it out.
Okay, Judge, you're frozen.
So you're asking questions about what's going to happen after she becomes appointed as the independent executor.
Then I can ask a question. Why, Deborah, why do you
Time out. Everything we have the internet problem, so hang on. So we can't hear anything. My court reporter's needs to jump back in. So just time out, everybody, as she gets out and gets back in.
Okay.
All right, Miss May, you're back.
Yes, sir. Your door is open though, but so I didn't close it.
Was that? Okay. So just to make sure everyone knows what's going to happen today, this is the application for today is for me to admit a copy of the will into probate and then appoint an independent executor to then execute the will. In other words, do what the will says.
Okay.
And that's the decision I have to make today.
Thank you, Judge.
I'm not making a decision today on what happens to that property. Whatever happens to that property is supposed to be whatever the will says is supposed to happen to that property.
Deborah, do you know that Mom wanted Annalisa to live on the property? Do you remember hearing that many times?
Cindy, I remember her saying that she wanted Annalisa to grow up and someday maybe live on the property. But just like I wanted you to take Annalisa and you didn't want to take her, now all of a sudden she's
I object. You see, I object.
Now she's going to inherit
Hang on.
property. I don't want
Time out. I'm really getting tired of talking over each other. Miss Maddox, when you hear her say objection, you need to stop talking because
Yes,
that means
sir.
she's an objection.
I have a little trouble hearing, but okay, yes, sir.
All right. What is your objection, Miss Sparks?
Why do you object to Annalisa living in the house? And Mom said, all my brothers know that Annalisa is supposed to live there and you're trying to sell the property anyway. Why is that?
Annalisa's a minor. She can't live there by herself. And I don't understand why all of a sudden you want Annalisa when you didn't want her before. I'm trying to understand that. That's my answer. And my concern is for the board.
I object.
I'm out. What is your objection, Miss Sparks?
Again, she's dragging in things that she's not supposed to drag. She doesn't want to answer.
That's the question that you're asking her. You're asking her about family matters. She is addressing.
I'm asking her, why doesn't she want Annalisa to live in the property?
I believe she's answered that question.
Do not talk over the judge. When the judge is talking, you need to quit talking.
Okay.
Everybody needs to quit talking when the judge starts. All right?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm making a record here, and it's not a very good one right now. So one person speaks at a time When the judge speaks, everybody stops because he's the only person that I'm going to take down if y'all are all going to constantly talk on top of each other.
Ms. Sparks, you may ask your next question.
Do you think that Annalisa should live on the property?
That's already been asked and answered. Next question.
That's all I have, but I can, okay.
Pass the witness. Now, Annalisa, if Annalisa has any questions, she may ask those questions.
You want to say something, Annalisa?
Annalisa Pena, is that your name?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have any questions for this witness, Ms. Maddox? Now, you don't get to tell your side of the story right now. You only get to ask questions. You may ask a question now.
So, if the property is sold, then that would.
All right, time out. Whoever's at the table with Ms. Pena right now needs to leave and go sit in the front row. We don't get to help each other when we're sitting at the table. This is her turn to represent herself. You don't get to represent her unless she's an attorney. So Miss Cynthia Sparks, you can leave the table and sit in the first row, and only Annalisa Pena is going to be sitting at the table with the computer. Ms. Pena, do you have a question?
Yes, sir, I do. Just.
I love you very much.
Ms. Maddox, don't reply until we get a question. Ms. Pena, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. Can't focus. So, why did you want to sell the property again?
Because the boys are always fighting, and I don't think that they're going to pay the taxes. And I love you so much.
But
I just want what's best for you.
But how they get along and the taxes, how are you how are you responsible for that?
Because I'm going to be part of an owner to the taxes that may or may not get paid. And you know their entire lives since you've been alive that they've had to, grandma has had to call the police on them, and you've been there and you know that. And Uncle Tommy's threatened that Willie's going to go to jail if he steps out of line. Annalisa, you know what you've experienced while you've been there. You know what grandma has gone through. You know how bad they've treated her. You know that, baby.
Okay, I object.
And I love you.
Okay.
Annalisa.
Next question, Ms. Sparks. Excuse me, Ms. Pena.
Do you I know overall you said that you're worried about the taxes and how they're gonna act. But have you thought about what would happen after the property gets sold and they'll have nowhere to go?
I have thought about that, and it really does concern me, and it scares me. But their entire lives, they've depended on grandma. Willie's only had a job for the last 2 or 3 years because he's never had a job before. I paid over $8,000 to help Willie get his driver's license, to help him get him on his feet. And then I found out that he was doing cocaine.
Okay,
his girlfriend told me that.
I object.
Ma'am, I don't think there's a proper objection there, but you may ask your next question.
Do you know what grandma wanted for the property?
Yes, I do, baby. But grandma didn't always have that's why she always called the police on them. She always called the sheriff's office, and you know she did. Because she felt sorry for them. She felt bad for them. And I don't want to be in the same position that grandma's in. They showed me that when I was there trying to get grandma's clothes for her viewing, for when I was going to have her cremated. How badly they treated me, Annalisa. I have a bruise on my knee where Tommy hurt me. And Willie yanked all the clothes out of the car. You know they've behaved very badly and they need to grow up. They need to grow up and get their own place. Tommy needs to stop spending Ruby's money. He's spending
Okay.
Ruby's money.
Okay.
Next question, Miss Pena.
What happened to the stuff in the house? Like, when I went to the house, there was a lot of stuff missing. Do you know what happened to that?
Well, that might be a good question to ask Tommy and Ruby, Annalisa. That might be a very good question to ask him, just like what happened to Grandma's food stamp card, her bank cards, and her credit cards. If you get the answer to that, you might get the answer to what happened to Grandma's stuff. You know that I bought Grandma's refrigerator, I bought Grandma's freezer, I bought Grandma's
You've
stove.
answered the question, Miss Maddox. I'm going to start cutting you short because this hearing's gone. Most of the stuff I'm hearing is not going to help me make my decision that I have to make today. So I'm going to cut you short on your answers, and we're going to start moving forward. Ms. Pena, any other question?
What about the money that Grandma had in the house?
Like I said, you might want to ask Tommy about that, or Willie. I've never stolen from Grandma. I've always helped Grandma. And you know that, Annalisa. I bought you that bed.
Enough, Ms. Maddox. You've answered the question. Next question, Ms. Pena.
I can't think of anything else.
All right, you passed the witness.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Green, any other questions?
Nothing further, this witness, Your Honor.
All right. Do you rest your case?
Rest my case, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Sparks, Tommy Sparks, if you can come up to the table, please. All right, Mr. Sparks, it's now your time to have your case in chief. So in other words, it's your time to tell me your side of the story, or if you'd like, you can call other witnesses and ask them questions. Are you ready to tell me your side of the story?
Yes, sir, I am.
Please raise your hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony that you give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
May put your hand down. You may proceed with your testimony, sir.
Well, sir, the first thing I want to say is I've been wondering where my sister has been for the last 4 years. She hasn't come around my mom's since I moved in. I moved in February, November of 2022. And I've been living there ever since. My mom wanted me to live there. She told me that she wanted me to live here on the property, that she's going to give me this piece of land. And I just wonder where
I object to any testimony.
I'm talking right now, sir.
Now,
I object to any testimony about the intent of the decedent, which is not set forth in the will.
Sustained. So let me tell you what just happened, Mr. Sparks. This is how wills work. So whatever's written in the will, that is going to be what was intended by Mrs. Adela Sparks.
Yes.
Any kind of oral statements that she made or any promises that she made that's not contained in the will not stand up.
Okay. Well, there ain't nothing in the will that said anything about us being drug addicts and not being able to pay the taxes and nothing like that in there. And that was brought up. And I mean, I just got through paying the taxes on lot 73, and there's only a little bit of money owed on lot 74. And I don't know why she said that we are incompetent. She thinks that we can't take care of ourselves. Like she's the only. My mom left us this property, Judge. She said that she wanted us to live there.
Hey, another objection. This is my decision that I have to make today, Mr. Sparks.
Mm-hmm.
Should this will be probated? In other words, should this be admitted into evidence? In other words, her will that I have here in front of me that's been filed with the court.
Yes, sir.
Any objection to me admitting this will to probate this will?
Well, I think that it's different than the one that my mom made. I think it's different than the one that the lawyer probably had. I don't know. I'm not for sure, sir. I asked the lawyer to give me a copy of it, and he would not. He said he didn't want to get in the middle of this.
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance.
Sustained. All right. So, and then what else do you have to tell me, Mr. Sparks? And the other decision I have to make is whether or not Miss Maddox should be named as the independent executor as requested by Adela Sparks in her will.
Well, I think she's being one-sided, sir. I don't think she should be the executor. I think there should be somebody that's not in the family. That's what I think.
Okay. All right. Do you have any other testimony, Mr. Sparks?
Well, I think there was something I can't think of. It's right at the tip of my tongue right now, sir. But you know, she's trying to benefit from this and just taking it away from us because she doesn't like us. We've never gotten along. Nobody in the family gets along with her.
Objection, Your Honor. We're getting beyond the scope of the.
It's the truth, whether it's an objection or not. That's the truth, sir.
What the court should hear in order to admit the will to probate.
Sustained. So, no, you have anything else to tell me, Mr. Sparks?
Well, I hope you're a fair judge and you decide right, sir. I hope we keep our land because my mom wanted us to have that. And we are responsible enough to keep it up.
Okay,
I've made a lot of improvements on it myself.
So let me tell you what's going to happen. As the judge, the decision that I'm going to make is I'm going to admit this, whether or not I admit this will into probate. Then after that, there's going to be an independent executor that gets to carry out whatever the will has to say. The judge doesn't. Well, exactly. You're really going to you're really going to need to get a lawyer. So, Mr. Sparks, you're going to have to get a lawyer to explain all this to you. As the judge, I'm not here to explain everything that's going to happen.
No problem.
You'll need to get a lawyer.
Maybe Mr. Green will be so nice to explain it to me.
Mr. Green is not your lawyer.
I can't give you legal advice, Mr. Sparks. Pardon me, Judge.
Yeah, and Mr. Green is not your lawyer. In fact, he's the lawyer for Miss Maddox. He's the last person you should be asking for legal advice.
I figured that already, sir. But I didn't think she would need a lawyer. If there was a fair court, if she was being fair.
Well, let me tell you another thing, Mr. Sparks. In every single case in which there's a will admitted to probate, there must be a lawyer.
Okay.
So nothing wrong with that.
I just feel like I'm getting railroaded or trying to get railroaded.
All right. Anything else to tell me?
Well, I hope you're fair with your judgment, sir. And we get what my mom wanted us to get.
You're going to get whatever spelled out in the will.
Yes, sir. That's all I want. My piece of land that my mom left me.
Well, I'm not sure if that's exactly what the will has to say, but that's what's going to happen is the will be administered by the executor that I appoint. And that their job is to carry out whatever the will has to say. Not any oral agreements or not any promises that she might have made that are not contained in the will not be carried out.
Oh, I understand that.
All right, Mr. Sparks, I think you're done with your testimony.
I said what I was allowed to say, yes.
All right, Mr. Green, do you have any questions for this witness?
Yeah, Mr. Sparks, what did you and your brother do with the will after you took it from your sister?
We never took the will, sir. I don't know where you got this crazy idea from Ms. Maddox from because she has her own will and we never took nothing from her. I never even went in the house. She had the doors locked because she didn't want nobody. I've been living with my mom at this house for 4 years, using the bathroom, taking a shower, and eating there. I've been cooking for my mom. Where was Miss Maddox at then? I've been living there, yes. And I know if I would have took it, I'll tell you. I'll be the first one to tell you, sir, that I took that will. But I did not take
Miss Maddox, you do not get to.
I did not take that will. You asked her what she did.
Time out. Stop talking. Miss Maddox, I'm putting you on mute because you're no longer a witness. You don't get to make any objections. You have an attorney to do that for you.
I'm sorry.
You're muted. You are not allowed to talk. All right. And Mr. Sparks, you make, I guess, continue with your testimony, or I think you've responded. So, Mr. Green, if you have another question, you may ask.
Yes, I do. I have another question. Did William Sparks steal the will?
I don't know. So you have to ask him. I can't speak for my brother.
Okay. So your brother may have stolen the will and destroyed it.
I didn't say that. I think my sister took it. I think she still has it. That's what you're asking me. That's what I'm telling you. She still has it.
Nothing further to this witness, Your Honor.
All right. So would William Sparks please step up to the table? It's his opportunity to testify.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Sparks, please raise your hand. You solemnly swear the testimony that you give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
Down, please be seated. All right, Mr. Sparks, you may start your testimony.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, everything that's coming out of her mouth is a lie. And I know she's trying to say that we're using drugs, we're incompetent to pay the bills. She has no right to be saying any of those kind of things. She's no saint herself, you know. I don't know what she's trying to say all this stuff, trying to make us look bad in court. I have a job. I have my job for the past 5 years. I'm very well capable of paying my taxes and paying my light bill. I don't need her to come in and saying that I'm not able to do that. So I don't know what she's saying that. And the money that she said she paid for me, she did that out of her own good, free heart. And she's trying to use this against me now. No, that's not going to work. She's crying. You can see how she acts. Oh, she can be real sad at one moment. And then when it comes down to saying something, she can be real ugly and aggressive. She's just playing the act. That's all she's doing. She's not fooling nobody. She may be fooling the court or whatever. She's not fooling me or anybody else that knows her.
Okay.
My mother left that property for us to live there. Everybody that knows my mother from church and everybody else, family members, they know that my mother wanted to leave that property for us to live there.
Objection, Your Honor. Testimony going beyond the scope of
shut up, liar.
in this case.
Sustained. So basically what we're here to talk about is what the will has to say, what's going to happen with the land, not what your mother might have told somebody at church.
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to give reverence. She can speak what she was saying. Why can't I say what I need to say?
Because there was an objection and I sustained the objection.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't afford an attorney. You know, that's not my problem. I can't afford an attorney like she's trying to do, make herself look good. That's all she's doing.
All right. She has to have an attorney. She cannot do this without an attorney.
Yeah. Crying there crying, trying to take advantage of that little girl. My mother left that property, the house to her, to Annalisa, and she knows it.
Your Honor, same objection.
Sustained. Again, Mr. Sparks, we're only going to talk about what the will has to say, what's going to happen with the property, not other wishes that she might have told somebody.
It's in the will.
If it's in the will, then it's going to happen. If it's not in the will, then we don't get to talk about it.
It's in there. It's written in the will. And I didn't steal no will from her.
Okay. Any other testimony, Mr. Sparks?
She's the one who probably has the will. I don't know. They were taking stuff out for 2-3 days. They were taking stuff out of my mom's house. Where's the money that my mother left in the house, Debbie? Where's that money?
Objection, relevance.
Well, also she's not a witness right now. You're the only one that gets to testify right now. So you can testify. You don't get to ask questions.
And I need the title to my white car. I need that also.
Any other testimony, Mr. Sparks?
I believe my mother left that yellow truck she's talking about to my brother. I'd like to know where the paperwork is, for the legal stuff for the house. I don't know where that's at. I need the title to my white car. I don't know where that's at.
Any other testimony, Mr. Sparks?
Not that I can say in the courtroom, no.
And Mr. Green, do you have any questions for Mr. Sparks?
Yes, Mr. Sparks, have you ever been convicted of a crime?
That's I'm not going to answer that. I plead the fifth on that.
What were you convicted of, Mr. Sparks?
I plead the fifth.
I'm sorry, but if you've been
plead the fifth in civil case,
you can't plead the fifth.
I'm not going to answer. That's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. I feel that's irrelevant to the case.
It is.
We're not talking about stuff that's to the will. That's not part of the will.
Stop, sir. I'm sustaining his objection, and I'm asking you to please answer the case. Have you ever been answer the question? Have you ever been committed of crime?
I'm not going to answer.
You have to answer.
No. Yes, I have. Yeah, I have.
What were you convicted of, Mr. Sparks?
I'm not going to answer. They're going to try to make me do like a bad character.
Drug offense, Mr. Sparks?
Nope.
Was it an assault?
Nope.
Was it a felony?
Nope.
Was it a misdemeanor?
Nope. I got a ticket for having an open beer can.
Okay. Do you have any other convictions?
Nope.
Right. What did you do? What did you and your brother do with the will after you took it from your mother's house that day?
I don't know. Ask your Ask Debbie about that.
I'm asking you, Mr. Sparks.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what happened. We don't have no will. Fancy question, man.
Nothing further this witness, Your Honor.
Any other testimony, Mr. William Sparks?
Nope, not that I can say in court, sir, Your Honor. There's just a feel this is all one-sided. This is not fair here.
All right, do you rest your case?
Why is she so worried about what the will when she has it?
Does that conclude your testimony?
Guess I don't get an answer.
Well, no, sir, you're the witness. You're the one answering the questions right now. You don't
I
get
asked
to
the
ask
question,
questions.
no answer.
Let me tell you what you're doing right now. You're a witness and you get to give testimony. You're not acting as someone asking questions. So right now you're in the witness box. You get to give testimony, not ask questions. So you can give me all the testimony that you want. And you can ask questions, but you're not going to get any answers because there's no witnesses to answer you. You're the only one here giving answers. So you may proceed with your testimony, but there's no one to ask questions of right now.
I would just like for the will to be as it says.
Okay. Anything else?
She has no right to try to sell a property from underneath us for her benefit. She doesn't be worried about us. She's worried about herself and her family. Her own kids don't even want to be around her. She has 2, 3
Objection,
kids.
Your
That's
Honor.
nothing to
This
do with
goes
it.
beyond the scope of why we're here today.
Sustained. So anything else you want to testify to, Mr. Sparks?
She's a liar. Straight up flat liar. That's all I can say.
All right. Does that conclude your testimony?
I guess for right now, yes, sir, it is, Your Honor.
Cynthia Sparks, if you'd like to step forward, you can give your testimony.
I don't know what I'm allowed to say because I don't want to be objective, but I know that a lot of stuff that she said was from the past. And I think my brothers are willing to, my brothers so far have paid, she hasn't paid taxes on the property. So the ones that have paid it up to date have been Willie and my brother, both of them. So to me, that's proof that they could pay for the taxes and take care of the property. And that's what my mom wanted them to do. She wanted
Objection,
them to
Your
live.
Honor. Did any unexpressed will?
Right. So that's sustained, but basically his objection is anything you tell me about what your mother wanted, the only thing the court can consider about what your mother wanted to do with her property has to be contained in that will.
And that
anything that she might have told to somebody, oh, I promise you this, or I promised somebody else that doesn't hold up against a written will.
Well, in the will, it says that my mom wanted the property to be divided among the whole family. And there it doesn't say that she wanted it to be sold. So I think that the will should be honored because my mother wanted them to have a place to live.
Your Honor, I'm hearing no objection to the admission of the will then.
Any other testimony, Ms. Sparks?
No, and that everything that Deborah Maddox is saying, I don't know if I'm entitled to say this because she has a very, everything that she does is for her benefit. She wants to sell the property and she does not want my brothers to have a place to live. And it's on the will. In the will, it says that my mom wanted the property to be divided. It mentions
Your Honor,
all of them,
objection,
including.
this testimony is going beyond the scope of the will.
She's talking about the will, so I'll allow it overruled.
I haven't seen the will, so I don't know exactly what it says, but I know, I'm pretty sure because my brother showed it to me. I didn't get to read it completely, but was sent to them in the mail. But in the property there, again, naming her as the person in charge to follow the will, Deborah. And in the will, it said that it says that they were each to live on that property. My mom did not want it to be sold. In the will, it does not say to sell the property. So I don't see how that has anything to do with the property being sold. I think everybody should live there and it not be sold. And then when the taxes cannot be paid, then sell the property. But right now the taxes can be paid and everybody, the way my mom wanted it, my mom did not want the property to be sold. And that's why she divided the property and the
Objection,
wealth.
Your Honor. Or
Can I finish
testimony going
speaking,
beyond the
please?
scope of the will.
Sustained. All right, anything else to testify to, Ms. Sparks?
No, just that my mom did not want the property sold. And on the will, it has
Same
everybody
objection,
named.
Your Honor.
Sustained. So I've already heard that answer, Ms.
Okay.
Ms. Sparks.
Okay, that's it, sir.
All right, thank you. All right, so Ms. Pena has an opportunity to tell me her side of the story. All right, Ms. Pena, please raise your hand. You solemnly swear the testimony that you give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
And put your hand down. All right, ma'am, you may proceed with your testimony.
So I don't really know much that went on because after like my grandma was hospitalized, I was with my I wasn't staying at the house. So and I only went back to the house like twice after that. So but all I know is that there was a lot of stuff missing in the house. And I don't know what else.
All right, do you have any other testimony, Ms. Pena?
No.
All right. And Mr. Green, do you have any questions for this witness?
No questions, this witness, Your Honor.
Right. All right, Ms. Pena, you're done with your testimony, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Anything further, Mr. Green?
Nothing, Your Honor. We just asked that the court admit the copy of the will to probate and order that letters testamentary be issued upon filing of an oath by Mrs. Maddox.
All right. I find I have subject matter jurisdiction and jurisdiction over the parties in this case. I've taken judicial notice of the entire court's file. I'm finding that there is a due execution of a copy of the will. I'm admitting the copy of the will rather than the original because it appears that the original has been lost. I've heard no proper objections to admitting this will to probate, so the copy of the will is admitted to probate. Also, pursuant to the wishes of Ms. Adela Sparks, I'm appointing Deborah Maddox as the independent executor, and I'm ordering that letters testamentary be issued to her as the executor. Right, before everybody leaves, let me just tell you what happened. The only thing that happened now is I said that the will that I admitted into probate is the last will and testament of Ms. Sparks. And now I've appointed Ms. Maddox to then follow the last will and testament of Ms. Sparks as contained in that will. So now it is her job to read this will and make sure that she disposes of the estate as is set out in the will. I've not made any rulings on whether or not the property is sold or not sold, but she is the independent executor and she gets to make most of the decisions on how to distribute the property in accordance with the will. If you have problems about how she's going to distribute the property in accordance with this will, you need to get attorneys. And then you have to have your attorneys file things in order for me to hear them. Does everybody, do all the Sparks and Ms. Pena understand that?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Can't afford, well, we can't afford an attorney.
Sir, I don't know what I can do to help you with that.
Can I ask something? So
Not
since
just maybe. So I'm going to let you ask a question, but I'm just trying to tell you that this is the beginning, not the end of this hearing, of this probate of the administration of this will. I'm just starting the administration of the will. Good. Question.
Can someone else be assigned to be the someone that's neutral?
I've already, there's been no objection that I've heard on the record that would have her be, not be appointed as requested by Miss Adela Sparks. If you want to have her replaced, if she's doing something wrong, then you probably need to file a motion to have her replaced. But right now, I'm appointing her as Adela Sparks wanted her to be appointed.
Can
So
I
I'm
say
following,
something?
I'm following the requests that are that were made by Miss Adela Sparks in her will. So I'm following what she wanted this court to do.
Judge, right now there's a charge against Deborah Maddox against her daughter. She put her on or she can't contact because she's been physical with her. And
Come out. So we're not getting into it. I've already appointed her. I've already appointed her as the executor. If you've got a problem with that, you'll need to file a new motion to have her removed as the executor. But right now, it's too late to start bringing up new stuff after I make my ruling. Okay.
how can I do that, Judge?
Well, you're probably going to need to get a lawyer to do that.
Okay, bring in the paperwork that's against her and show that I don't think she's a fair person or a fit person. I think, I'm not saying not to go against the will. I'm just saying she's not one to be in charge of it because of what I have said, because of the charges against her right now.
Right. So I didn't hear that during testimony, and this is all after I've made my ruling. So she's already been appointed as the independent executor of this will, and that is the ruling of the court.
So if I bring this information in, how does that go?
I don't know how that goes. I do not make rulings on anything that's going to happen in the future.
Well, I'll make sure that information gets in, Judge.
We all object on your ruling her leaving her the executor.
You just think that somebody fair should be there, be the one
We
in
all
charge.
object to your ruling her leaving her.
We're
the
not saying
executor.
not to go on the will, whatever the will says. Follow it to the letter.
Your objection is noted. It's overruled. She's been appointed as the executor as requested by Miss Adela Sparks.
And if there's charges against her, is she still fit? It doesn't matter.
I'm not answering any questions. If you want to do anything about this, you'll need to talk to a lawyer. We'll have to have a new legal process. Today's ruling is over.
Okay, you said a new legal process. What is that, sir? We'd be starting over?
Where I really can't be helping you as much as I'm helping you right now. I make rulings based on the pleadings that come before me in court. The only thing that was before me today was to probate this will and appoint Mrs. Maddox as the executor. There was no objection to Miss Maddox being appointed as the executor filed by any of the Sparks or Ms. Pena.
Okay, well, I'll make sure that it comes out about her having charges pending against her.
All right, good luck to you. But today's ruling is finalized and everyone is excused.
Your Honor, question, there was an order. I'm the second attorney on this case. There was a proposed order filed on April 30th. Is that the order admitting the will to testimony, admitting the will to probate and letters testamentary, or do I need to file an order?
I don't see an order.
Okay.
I don't see an order here. So you please file a new one.
I'll file an order, Your Honor. Thank you. And I'm going to have Ms. Sparks bring the oath. Should I have her bring it to the county clerk's office or to your clerk to execute the oath?
The county clerk's office.
County clerk's office. Right.
What other are you talking about?
We're talking about things that Miss Maddox is going to have to do to get the letters testamentary, appointing her as the executor of the will.
I'm not named on the property.
And we're not talking about you. We're talking about what Miss Maddox has to do next.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. Everyone is excused.
What is she going to do? What is she going to do?
Ma'am, you have to get an attorney, okay? And then they'll explain everything to you and what else you need to do, okay? Jesus.
All right, good morning. I'm Judge Chungin. We are here on People of the City of Taylor versus Randall Crane. Good morning. I see Mr. Crane up on screen. Sir, I believe you are muted. If you could unmute, please. There we go. Good morning, sir. Would you state your name, please?
My name is Randall Timothy Crane.
Good morning, Mr. Crane. And on behalf of defendant, today we have, please.
James
Mr.
Kazicki. I'm the House Counsel. I spoke with Mr. Crane. We had a breakdown in communications. I don't believe I can go forward representing him. We do not,
Okay,
support the same theory of law.
Mr. Crane, sir, you do have the right to have a court-appointed attorney. Do you wish to have a court-appointed attorney, or are you going to represent yourself at this time? You could change your mind later on, but at this stage, sir, are you representing yourself?
Sir, me and the House Counsel do not agree on a bunch
Sir,
of things.
I understand that. My question is, all you're here for today is I'm going to actually give you the formal arraignment and conduct a pretrial. All I'm wondering, sir, is are you going to represent yourself at this limited proceeding? That's all, sir.
I would like to have a assistance.
Okay, all right, but at this time, we do not have other counsel. But what I am going to do is what we call an arraignment. All arraignment, sir, is just a formal reading of the charges that are lodged against you. That's all it is. And I explained that the rights that you have.
Well, I understand my rights.
Hold on just a minute, please. Hold on just a minute. I want to make sure I have the complete file. Mr. Guzicki, maybe you can offer a little assistance, sir. Okay, no, I've got it. So, for the record, Mr. Crane, you're here for an arraignment. As I explained, sir, arraignment is that initial stage of the criminal proceedings, or simply put, you're advised of the charges that are now formally lodged against you. I'm going to advise you of the rights that you have. You plead, after I'm done with that, then you plead guilty or not guilty. After that, sir, the next stage is something called a pre-trial conference. That's where you, if you're representing yourself, or you with your court-appointed attorney, you sit down with the prosecutor and discuss the merits of the case. Okay, sir. So in this matter, you are charged on the complaint of Taylor PD Officer Schillenberg, who states that on March 26th, while in the city of Taylor, that you obstructed the officer from performing his lawful duties, specifically with respect to the stop on where he claims he observed you operating electronic device. Now, a misdemeanor charge in the state of Michigan. It's a criminal offense. It subjects you potentially to be 0 days in jail up to 90 days. Fines could be 0 up to 500. You could be placed on probation also for a period of up to 2 years. Of course, you have the right to have an attorney to represent you. If you can't afford one, one could be appointed. Of course, you start out with the presumption of innocence. You close with that presumption all the way through, unless and until the jury finds out or a judge rules the other way. Now, of course, you have the right to have a trial. The trial could be heard by a jury or a judge. At trial, sir, you and your attorney have the right to cross-examine all of the prosecution's witnesses. You could bring in witnesses that would testify on your behalf, and you could testify or not testify as you see fit. If you choose to remain silent, it can never be held against you. For example, Prosecutor could never tell the jury that, oh, you must be guilty because you didn't testify. We don't allow that, sir. The people have to prove you're guilty, your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, having heard that charge, how do you plead to the charge of obstructing the officer? All right, I'm going to note that the defendant stands mute. Has the same effect, sir, as you pleading not guilty. Now, sir, you are going to have I need you to write this down, please. You will have a pre-trial conference. So you're going to meet with an attorney here in the court. You need to write this date down, July 16th at 9 a.m. It's an in-person pre-trial conference. Furthermore, sir, we're going to mail a notice of that date to the address that's listed on your ticket. Not going to state the address now because this could go out for further public consumption. Not going to do that. But note, sir, July 16th, 9 a.m. All right. And at this time, I'm going to release you on a personal bond. You don't have to post cash. That's your word that you're going to come back on the July 16th date at 9 a.m. All right, sir. Now, I also want to inform you, we have a couple of other charges. They're called civil infractions. One has to do with no proof of insurance and no registration. Sir, these being civil infractions, you can't be sent to jail for these. They're simply not criminal offenses. All right. You'd be fined up to $100 on each of those, but you can't be sent to jail. But just for your information, they are accompanying charges. So again, sir, today, you've stood mute. I'm going to note you're requesting appointed counsel. I'm also noting for the record, you had spoken with Mr. Kazicki and he's not able to represent you any further. And lastly, again, you're on a personal bond. That's your word that you're going to come back on that July 16th date. Understood, sir?
No, I do not understand.
Pardon me, sir?
No, I do not understand.
Well, I'll explain it again. You come back on July 16th in court for a pre-trial conference. You meet with the attorney who will meet with the prosecutor. That's when they discuss the merits of the case. And right now, I've released you on a personal bond. You don't have to come to the courthouse and post any money. It's your word that you're coming back on that date. I've notified you here on the record of the court date, and further, you'll be mailed a notice.
Yes, Your Honor, I understand that part, but what I don't understand is I don't understand the jurisdiction that the court has over me.
Sir, you're going to be able to discuss that at a later date. This was just to advise you of the charges formally lodged.
Well, I would also like to advise the court that every day that I am in court, I require $1,400, and I will be charging the court $1,400 for my time.
Sir, you can do as you see fit on that count. I'm just apprising you of your court dates. And with that, you're free to leave the meeting, sir. Thank you.